Have you ever wondered why you woke up today and felt like something was different? Maybe nothing around you changed. The same room, the same responsibilities, the same problems waiting for you. But somewhere deep inside your heart, there was a feeling that you needed to hear something. Before you opened your phone, before you checked your notifications, before you allowed the world to speak to you, something inside you told you to stop for a moment. And maybe you ignored that feeling many times before. Maybe you have become so used to searching for answers through a screen that you forgot there are messages that cannot be delivered through technology. There are moments when your heart needs something that a notification can never provide, because the message you have been waiting for, the answer you have been praying for, the reassurance you have been searching for, may not be coming from your phone. It may be coming from a place you cannot see, and maybe that is why you are here right now. Not because you randomly clicked, not because this video appeared by accident, but because in this exact moment of your life, you needed a reminder. A reminder that you have not been forgotten. A reminder that your silent prayers were not ignored. A reminder that even when everything looks quiet, something can still be moving behind the scenes. Think about this for a moment. Imagine there is a letter waiting for you. Not an ordinary letter, a letter sealed with a golden seal, a letter that has been protected until the right time. You do not know what is written inside. You do not know who sent it. But the moment you see it, you feel something. You feel that this message matters. You feel that this was not meant for everyone. It was meant for you. And maybe the reason this image stays in your mind is because many people spend their entire lives searching for something they cannot explain. They search for a sign. They search for direction. They search for confirmation that they are on the right path. They wake up every morning hoping for something to change. They check their phone hoping for a message that will finally bring peace, a message that says, everything is going to be okay. But what if peace was never supposed to come from a phone screen? What if the biggest message you needed was not from another person, but from a deeper place? Because sometimes life becomes confusing when you only look at what is happening around you. You see closed doors. You see delays. You see people leaving. You see opportunities passing by. And you start asking, why is this happening to me? Why am I still waiting? Why hasn't my breakthrough arrived? But what you cannot see is what is happening behind the scenes. You cannot see the protection. You cannot see the things that were removed from your path because they were not meant to destroy you. They were meant to protect you. Sometimes the door that closes is not a rejection. Sometimes it is direction. Sometimes the delay is not a punishment. Sometimes it is preparation. Because if you received everything you wanted at the wrong moment, you might not have been ready to carry it. There are blessings that require a stronger version of you. There are opportunities that require wisdom. There are prayers that require patience. And maybe the season you are in right now is not empty. Maybe it is building something inside you, something you will need for the next chapter of your life. The truth is, most people only recognize the blessing when it arrives, but they forget the hidden process that prepared them for it. They see the success, but they do not see the waiting. They see the victory, but they do not see the battles. They see the open door, but they do not see all the doors that had to close first. And today, before you check another message, before you look for another answer, take a moment. Look deeper, because there may be a message waiting for your heart. A message reminding you that your journey has meaning, that your pain was not wasted, that your tears were not invisible, that your waiting season was not forgotten. But there is something even deeper about this message, something hidden inside this golden letter. Because the question is not only, why did this message find you? The bigger question is, why did it find you at this exact moment? Why now? Why today? Why when you were about to move on? Because sometimes the most important messages arrive right before a major change. And in the next part, we will uncover what this hidden message was trying to reveal. Why your waiting season had a purpose. And why you were meant to hear this before you checked your phone. The reason this message found you at this exact moment is because sometimes the biggest changes in life begin quietly. They do not arrive with a loud announcement. They do not come with everyone celebrating your name. They begin in silence. In the moments when you feel like nothing is happening. In the moments when you wonder if your prayers are being heard. In the moments when you look around and ask, did I miss my chance? Did I make the wrong choices? Did I wait too long? But what if the silence you are experiencing is not empty? What if the silence is carrying a message, because there are things happening beyond what your eyes can see. There are things being prepared that your current situation cannot reveal yet. Think about that golden letter, the one waiting to be opened, the one carrying a message meant specifically for you. Why was it sealed? Why was it protected? Because some messages are too valuable to be revealed before the right time. And maybe that is the same reason some things in your life have taken longer than expected. Maybe you have been asking for an answer, but you were actually being prepared for the answer. Maybe you were asking for a new opportunity, but you were being transformed into someone who could handle it. Maybe you were asking for a miracle, but you were being strengthened before receiving it. Because sometimes the greatest blessing is not what arrives at your door, it is the person you become while waiting for it. There were moments when you thought everything was falling apart. A friendship ended, a relationship changed, a dream that once felt so close suddenly became distant. A door you were sure would open remained closed. And you wondered, why would this happen? Why would I lose something I prayed for? Why would I go through this pain? But maybe you were looking at the wrong part of the story. Maybe you were focusing on what left instead of noticing what was being protected. Because not every loss is a loss. Some things leave because they were never meant to follow you into your next season. Some people walk away because they cannot go where you are going. Some doors close because they are keeping you away from something that would have delayed your purpose.
The hardest moments in life are often the moments where we have the least understanding. But lack of understanding does not mean there is no plan. A seed buried underground may look forgotten, but underneath the surface, something is happening. Roots are growing, strength is forming, life is preparing to appear. And maybe that is exactly what is happening with you. Maybe right now you feel like you are behind. You see other people achieving things. You see other people receiving opportunities. You see other people moving forward. And silently, you ask, when will it be my turn? But remember this, different timing does not mean forgotten. A delayed blessing is not a denied blessing. Your journey was never supposed to look exactly like someone else's journey. You were never created to walk someone else's path. The timing of your life has a purpose. The waiting has a purpose. Even the moments that tested you have a purpose. Because those moments were building something inside you that comfort never could. They built patience. They built wisdom. They built strength. They built a deeper understanding of what truly matters. Now imagine that golden letter opening slowly.
The seal begins to break. A warm light begins to shine through. And inside that letter is not a message saying, "You will never face problems." No, the message is deeper. It says, "You were never alone while facing them." Because sometimes people think protection means avoiding every struggle. But sometimes protection means having the strength to survive the struggle. Sometimes the miracle is not that the storm never came. Sometimes the miracle is that the storm did not destroy you. Look at everything you survived. Look at every moment you thought you could not continue. Yet here you are, still standing, still searching, still believing. That means something. But there is something many people never understand. The reason they miss their message is because they are distracted by constant noise. They wake up and immediately let the world speak first. They check opinions. They check comparisons. They check what everyone else is doing. And slowly, they forget to listen to the quiet voice inside. The voice reminding them, you are more than your current situation. You are more than your mistakes. You are more than what happened to you. Your current chapter does not define your entire story. A difficult season does not mean a difficult life. A closed door does not mean every door is closed. A delay does not mean the journey is over. But there is still one question remaining. Why did this message come before you checked your phone? Why was this reminder needed today? Why now? Because there are moments when you are standing closer to change than you realize. Moments when you are tempted to give up right before something shifts. Moments when your patience is tested right before a new door opens. And maybe today was not about receiving a notification. Maybe today was about receiving a reminder. A reminder that your story is still being written. But there is one final secret hidden inside this message. Something about the golden letter that most people would overlook. Something that reveals why some people receive their breakthrough after the longest waiting season. And in the next part, we will uncover what was written inside that letter, and why this message was sent to you before anything else could reach you. And now, The question that has been waiting since the beginning is finally here.
What was written inside that golden letter? Why was this message protected? Why did it have to reach you before the world reached you? Why did you need to hear these words today? Because sometimes the most important messages do not arrive when everything is going perfectly. They arrive when you are tired. They arrive when you are confused. They arrive when you are standing at a place where you have two choices: continue believing or give up. And maybe that is exactly where you are right now. Maybe nobody knows how much you have been carrying. Maybe people see your smile, but they do not see your struggle. They see you showing up every day, but they do not see the battles you fight in silence. They see your achievements, but they do not see the nights when you questioned yourself. They see the person you are today, but they do not see everything you had to overcome to become this person. And that is why this message matters. Because the golden letter was never just about information. It was about remembrance. A reminder that your story is bigger than the chapter you are currently living. Imagine holding that letter in your hands. The golden seal begins to glow.
The room becomes silent. For a moment, everything around you disappears. The worries, the pressure, the fear, the questions. All of it becomes quiet. And as the seal opens, you discover something unexpected. There is no message telling you that life will always be easy. There is no promise that you will never face another challenge. Instead, the first words you see are, "Do not be afraid." Because the greatest battles are often not the ones happening around you. The greatest battles are the ones happening inside you. The battle between fear and faith. The battle between doubt and hope. The battle between giving up and continuing one more day. And maybe that is why you are here. Not because you need someone to tell you everything will instantly change, but because you need to remember that you have already survived things you once thought would break you. Think about your past for a moment. Remember the moments you thought were the end. The moment when a door closed. The moment when someone walked away. The moment when a plan failed. The moment when you felt like nobody understood what you were going through. At that time, it probably felt unfair.
It probably felt like something was being taken away from you. But now, looking back, can you see that some of those moments actually redirected you? Some things you lost created space for something new. Some people who left protected your peace. Some delays gave you time to grow. Because sometimes life removes what is comfortable to prepare you for what is meaningful. The hardest part about waiting is not the waiting itself. The hardest part is not knowing. Not knowing when, not knowing how, not knowing what is happening behind the scenes. That is where many people lose hope. They say, "I waited long enough. I tried enough. I prayed enough. Maybe it is not meant for me." But what if the story is not over? What if you are judging the entire journey from only one difficult chapter? Imagine reading a book and stopping halfway through. The hero is facing a problem. Everything looks impossible. The future looks uncertain. Would you close the book and say, "This story has no purpose"? No, because you know there is more coming. You know the next pages may reveal something you could not see before. Your life is the same. You are still in the middle of the story.
The golden letter carries another message. Stop measuring your progress by what you can see. Because some of the most important things in life begin invisibly. A tree does not appear overnight. A strong person is not created in comfort. A great future is not built without preparation. The roots grow before the branches appear. The foundation is built before the building rises. And your preparation season may look quiet. But quiet does not mean inactive. Maybe you have been wondering why your phone stays silent. Why the message you expected never arrived. Why the opportunity you wanted went to someone else. Why the answer you prayed for has not appeared yet. But maybe you have been waiting for the wrong notification. Maybe the biggest update was happening inside you. Maybe the biggest change was not around you, it was within you. Because before your circumstances change, your heart often has to change first. Before you receive something new, you have to become ready for something new. Now look again at that golden letter. There is one symbol engraved on it, a symbol many people would ignore. It represents timing, not human timing, not rushed timing, perfect timing. Because sometimes we want things immediately. because we only see today. But a greater perspective sees tomorrow. You see the opportunity, but the bigger picture sees the responsibility. You see the blessing, but the bigger picture sees whether you are ready to carry it. There was a reason some things did not happen when you wanted them to. There was a reason some prayers took longer. There was a reason some paths became difficult. Not because you were forgotten, but because your next chapter required a stronger version of you. The person who receives the blessing cannot always be the same person who started the journey. Growth has to happen. Faith has to become deeper. Confidence has to become stronger. And sometimes the waiting season is where that transformation happens. But there is still something hidden inside this message. Something even deeper than patience. Because the golden letter was not only sent to remind you about what is coming, it was sent to reveal what you must leave behind. The fears you keep carrying, the doubts that keep speaking louder than hope, the memories that keep convincing you that your best days are behind you. Because before a new chapter begins, something old has to be released. And in the next part, we will discover the final secret inside the message, the thing that has been blocking your peace, and why this message found you before you checked your phone. And now, the golden letter has revealed something deeper. It was never only about the blessing you are waiting for. It was never only about the answer you have been asking for. Because before a new chapter can begin, there is something that must be released, something that has been silently holding you back, something you may not even realize you are carrying. And maybe this is the part you needed to hear the most. Because sometimes the reason we cannot move forward is not because the door is closed. It is because we are still holding on to something from the past, something that no longer belongs in our future. Think about the weight you have been carrying, the disappointment from things that did not happen, the pain from people who changed, the words someone spoke that you still remember, the moments when you felt rejected, the opportunities you lost, the mistakes you wish you could go back and fix. You may have forgiven others, but have you forgiven yourself? Because sometimes the person who needs your forgiveness the most is the person looking back at you in the mirror, the person who kept trying, the person who kept hoping, the person who continued even when nobody noticed. The golden letter opens further, and inside there is another message. A message that says, "Do not carry yesterday into the place I am taking you tomorrow." Because you cannot walk into a new season while holding tightly to an old wound. You cannot receive peace while constantly replaying pain. You cannot see new possibilities while your eyes are fixed on what you lost. And this does not mean your pain was meaningless. No. Every difficult moment taught you something. Every disappointment shaped you. Every struggle built something inside you. But there comes a moment when you have to stop asking, "Why did this happen?" and start asking, "What is this preparing me for?" Maybe there was a time when you felt forgotten. Maybe you watched someone else receive what you were praying for. Someone else got the opportunity. Someone else got the breakthrough. Someone else got the answer. And quietly you wondered, why not me? But you only saw the moment. You did not see the preparation. You did not see what was happening behind the scenes. You did not see the things that were being arranged. Because sometimes the biggest blessings require the longest preparation. A diamond is not created instantly. Gold is not purified without pressure. A strong foundation is not built overnight. And a person with a powerful purpose is often shaped through powerful challenges. Look at your own journey. Think about everything you survived. There were moments you thought you would not make it. Moments when your heart was heavy. Moments when you had no clear answers. But somehow, you continued. You woke up another day. You kept moving. You kept searching. You kept believing. That was not weakness. That was strength. Sometimes the miracle is not only what you receive. Sometimes the miracle is who you become while waiting. The world teaches people to chase quick answers, quick success, quick results, quick changes. But some of the most meaningful things in life cannot be rushed. A sunrise does not happen instantly. A season does not change in 1 second. A story does not become beautiful after only 1 page. And your life is still unfolding. The chapter you are living right now is not the final chapter. Now imagine the golden letter completely opening. The light becomes brighter. The message becomes clearer. And you see one sentence written inside. Your waiting was not wasted. Read that again. Your waiting was not wasted. Every moment you thought nothing was happening, something was being built. Every prayer you thought was unanswered,
Something was being prepared. Every closed door you thought was the end was actually leading you somewhere else. But there is another truth hidden inside this message, a truth that many people struggle to accept. Sometimes the reason we do not recognize the answer is because we are expecting it to arrive in the form we imagined. We expect a certain door, a certain person, a certain opportunity, a certain path. But sometimes the answer arrives differently. Sometimes the blessing does not look like what you expected. Sometimes protection looks like loss. Sometimes direction looks like delay. Sometimes growth looks like discomfort. Maybe right now you are standing between two versions of yourself. The old version, the one controlled by fear. The one that constantly asks, what if it fails? What if I am not enough? What if nothing changes? And the new version, the one learning to trust. The one learning to believe. The one learning that not every unanswered question needs an immediate explanation. Because faith is not only trusting when you understand. Faith is trusting even when you do not. The golden letter was never just a message. It was an invitation to stop looking only at what is missing and start noticing what is already being created. An invitation to stop allowing your past to define your future. An invitation to believe that something greater can still happen. But there is still one final part of this message. One final secret hidden beneath the golden seal. Because the letter does not only reveal what you need to release, it reveals what is coming next. It reveals why this season had to happen. And it reveals why this message reached you before you checked your phone.
In the next part, we will open the final words inside the letter and discover the promise waiting on the other side of your waiting. And now, the golden letter is finally opening completely. The light that was hidden inside is becoming brighter. The message that was protected for the right moment is finally being revealed. And maybe you have been waiting for this moment without even realizing it. Because the truth is, everyone wants the blessing. Everyone wants the breakthrough. Everyone wants the answer. But very few people understand what happens before the blessing arrives. Very few people understand that sometimes the waiting season is not a punishment. It is preparation. It is the place where your character is built. It is the place where your faith becomes stronger. It is the place where you learn that your hope was never supposed to depend only on what you can see. Maybe while listening to this message, something inside you feels different. Maybe you are remembering moments you thought were forgotten. Maybe you are thinking about a prayer you almost stopped believing in. Maybe you are thinking about a dream you buried because life became too difficult.
And if that is you, write this in the comments. I trust the timing. Not because everything is already perfect, not because every problem has disappeared, but because you are choosing to believe that your story is still being written. Because sometimes one of the hardest things in life is trusting during the invisible season, the season where you are doing everything you know to do, but you still do not see results. You keep trying, you keep praying, you keep moving forward, but nothing seems to change. And that is when doubt starts whispering. Maybe it will never happen. Maybe it is too late. Maybe I missed my opportunity. Maybe I am not meant for something greater. But what if those thoughts are only testing your patience before your next chapter begins? What if you are closer than you think? Look at a seed. When a farmer plants a seed, the first thing that happens is not a beautiful tree appearing above the ground. The seed disappears. It goes into darkness. Nobody sees what is happening. Nobody celebrates it. Nobody knows what is being created underneath. But beneath the surface, something is changing. Roots are growing. Strength is forming. Life is beginning.
And maybe your current season feels like that. Hidden, quiet, unnoticed. But that does not mean nothing is happening. The golden letter reveals another message. Do not confuse silence with absence. Because many people make this mistake. They think, if I cannot see it, it is not happening. If I cannot feel it, it is not real. If I do not have the answer yet, there is no answer. But some of the greatest changes happen before they become visible. The sunrise begins before the world sees the light. The storm begins to move before the sky becomes clear. The answer begins forming before it reaches your hands. Maybe there was a time when you asked, why did this person leave? Why did this opportunity disappear? Why did my plans change? And you thought those moments were breaking you. But now you are starting to understand. Some things had to leave because they were connected to an older version of you. A version that was afraid, a version that accepted less than it deserved, a version that did not know its own strength. Sometimes life removes what is comfortable, because comfort can keep you from growth.
And maybe today, this message is reminding you of something important. Stop looking at your life only through the lens of what you lost. Start looking at it through the lens of what you are becoming. Because the same person who went through the storm will not be the same person who walks out of it. The struggle changed you. The waiting changed you. The lessons changed you. And that change has value. If this message is speaking to your heart, write in the comments, "My new chapter begins," because sometimes declaring hope reminds your own heart that you are not finished. Now imagine the golden letter completely open in your hands. The final words are shining, and they say, "You are never forgotten." Those words hit differently, because maybe the deepest pain was never the waiting. Maybe the deepest pain was wondering if anyone noticed, wondering if your prayers mattered, wondering if your efforts mattered, wondering if your tears mattered. But this is the reminder: your journey mattered, every step mattered, every lesson mattered, every moment that shaped you mattered. But there is something else hidden inside this letter, something even more powerful.
Because the message was not only sent to heal your past, it was sent to prepare you for what comes next. There is a reason you had to go through certain battles. There is a reason you had to learn certain lessons. There is a reason you had to become stronger before receiving something new. Because some blessings require a different version of you. Think about a person receiving a great opportunity before they are ready. Without preparation, the very thing they wanted could become overwhelming. That is why timing matters. That is why growth matters. That is why the journey matters. The preparation is not separate from the blessing. The preparation is part of the blessing. Maybe you came to this video looking for a sign. Maybe you came looking for encouragement. Maybe you came because something inside you said, "Just listen for a moment." And maybe this is the moment you needed to remember. You are still moving forward, even if it is slowly, even if nobody sees it, even if you do not have all the answers yet. But the golden letter still has one final secret, a final revelation that explains why this message reached you before your phone could.
Because there is something about your next season that you need to understand. Something about the doors that are about to open. Something about the blessing that is connected to everything you have survived. And in the next part, we will reveal the final message hidden inside the letter, the message that explains why your waiting was necessary and why this moment was never random. And now, the moment has arrived. The golden letter that appeared at the beginning of this journey, the message that was hidden behind the silence, the answer you were searching for, is finally ready to be revealed. But before you open it completely, there is something you need to understand. Because the most important part of any message is not only what it says, it is why it reached you at that exact moment. And maybe you are beginning to understand now. This was never just about a letter. This was never just about a video. This was about a reminder. A reminder that sometimes life becomes so loud that we forget to listen to what truly matters. Think about how many times you reached for your phone hoping something would change. Maybe you were waiting for someone to call.
Maybe you were waiting for an opportunity. Maybe you were waiting for a response that would finally bring peace to your heart. You looked at the screen again and again, refreshing, waiting, hoping.